Shalom. We're turning a corner this week in more ways than one. First of all, we are soon to be observing the festival of Shavuot, the anniversary of the giving of the Torah at Mount Sinai, the most cataclysmic, earth-shattering event in the history of mankind. We're also turning a corner in that we are this week beginning the book of Bamidbar, in the desert, translated for some reason as Numbers. I guess because the beginning of the book, this week's Torah portion, deals with the census, the numbers of the children of Israel. And there is a very strong connection between beginning the book of Numbers and the festival upcoming of Shavuot, the festival of weeks, anniversary of the giving of the Torah. First of all, you know, the Torah was given in the Sinai wilderness, the desert of Sinai, and our sages emphasize characteristics of the desert are the characteristics which are most conducive to the acquisition on a deep soul level of Torah. When we say Torah, we don't just mean facts, we don't just mean text, we don't just mean Torah study, we mean the life of Torah, living for Hashem, following the path of Hashem. The desert it's a no man's land. It's humbling, harsh, foreboding, and it's a place where you have to be very real about everything. And it teaches a person humility. There's all sorts of details that are given in metaphor of what the desert is all about. And we're turning the corner now as we follow the readings of the Parsha, of the books of the Torah. We finished Genesis, we finished Exodus, we finished Vayikra, the book of Leviticus, the manual for administering the light of the Shekhinah in the world, running the Mishkan, sanctuary, the Beit HaMikdash. And chronologically speaking, kind of Vayikra was kind of like just happened to be there because the tabernacle was put up. So then we have the manual for the tabernacle. Now we're kind of back on the chronological track. There is no chronology in the Torah anyway. We're back on this chronological track of, here we are, beginning, it's the first day of the second month. That means the first of Iyar. And the second year, in the wilderness of Sinai, the census in the beginning of Parashat Bamidbar is taking place. And for all intents and purposes, as far as we know, people of Israel are poised on the edge, getting ready to enter into the land of Israel. That was the case up until the debacle, what happened soon in Parashat Shalach. But as far as we're concerned right now, we're ready. We have the Torah, and we are ready to go into the land of Israel. And you know that when we read the Torah, when we study the Torah, it's not about then, it's about now. Major principle in Torah study, if you're real about it, is that we are not reading about other people's lives. We're never tired of emphasizing that we are reading about our own lives. So it's all about tikkun, it's all about fixing, it's all about getting it right. This generation that we're going to be reading about, the generation of the desert, is a complex one, full of all sorts of personality conflicts and all sorts of extremes. It was a generation that was very holy, very close to Hashem, very dedicated, very elevated. And at the same time, it was a generation that was constantly repeating the same mistakes, constantly falling into the same pitfalls and repeating the same foibles. It's a theme, the generation of the desert, called a generation of knowledge. They were very special people, but they rose to their greatest level of incompetence, unfortunately, and did not enter into the promised land, but their children did. And so here we are now, beginning the book of Numbers, a few days before the festival of Shavuot, again, poised to take our place in the continuum of Jewish history. Can we get it right this time? Can we go into the land of Israel, even those of us that are physically in the land of Israel, can we do it this time? Can we get it right? Can we make the acquisition? Can we embrace the Torah and come into the land with our heads up high and really possess it as we are supposed to, avoiding the mistakes of the generation of the desert that we will be learning about in great detail as the book unfolds and as we continue. But here, for now, in the desert, let's talk for a moment about exactly where we are. on the eve of the festival of Shavuot, you know, there's no coincidence in the Torah, and everything is perfectly arranged and timed. So you might be disappointed that coming up to Shavuot, the majesty, the grandeur of the Sinai revelation, the giving of the Torah, the parsha that we are about to read now, just days before the giving of the Torah, the anniversary of Shavuot, that we will be reliving, and hopefully our goal will be to really receive anew, on the deepest level of acquisition of our soul, the Torah for ourselves. And what are we reading this Shabbat? Parashat Bamidbar. First section of the book of Numbers. And some people have said to me, frankly, it's a little boring. Census in the wilderness, a lot of names, a lot of numbers, got some family issues here, some delineation of the responsibility of various families, of what they are responsible for carrying of the tabernacle parts, and that's about it. There's one phrase that repeats itself a number of times that I would like to emphasize for a moment. And first of all, don't forget that our sages tell us, what's up with this counting? A lot of times in the Torah, God stops everything, counts the Jewish people. And our sages emphasize that that has a lot to do with his intimate, direct, and overwhelming love for them. He's always going over and counting again in a very precious, cherishing way. There's something about this count that I want to point out. You know, we have here, take a census of the entire assembly of the children of Israel according to their families, according to their fathers' households, by number of the names. And in Hebrew, b'mispar shemot, by number of their names. Again, these are the names of the men who shall stand with you, the heads of the tribes. And then again, regarding the entire assembly, they gathered together the entire assembly on the first of the second month, and they established their genealogy according to their families, according to their father's household, by number of the names. You know, this whole counting, it was very personal. It was by name. It was each individual by name. And actually, far from commonplace or boring, this parsha is perfect. A perfect preparation for our own reliving, hopefully, soon, of the Sinai revelation and acceptance upon ourselves of Torah on the deepest soul level, to walk into the land of Israel and possess it. Because the key here is, you know, beautiful teaching, everybody knows. Our sages tell us that before birth, every child in utero learns the entire Torah. Everybody knows this, right? Every child, every soul, while yet in its mother's womb, is taught the entire Torah, and upon birth, the child is made to forget. Angel comes, touches the child forgets the entire Torah. Why? What is this telling us? It's telling us something very primordial and very, very deep about the level, pre-birth, déjà vu, of Torah knowledge in every person's soul. And by the way, this applies to every human being. So, studying Torah, going on our odyssey, our spiritual journey, looking for Hashem in our lives, looking for the truth of the Torah, we have a little bit of a divine assistance. We have a little bit of a help, because we once had this before. And so now our journey is a little bit easier. We have a little bit of an indication, a little help, because we once had it. And it's not new to us, really. We are reconnecting with what we once had. It's a beautiful idea, famous idea, this idea of reconnecting with the pre-birth Torah, but actually the idea is even deeper, and most people don't realize it. The idea that our sages are expressing is even deeper in that it's not just that every child knew the whole Torah before birth and then is made to forget it so that we have to search for it and we find it. It's that the life's work of an individual is to reconnect, to relearn your particular path of the Torah. It's very personal. It's very individual. It's by name. Because every person has a different level of understanding of the Torah and a different path, and every person was actually taught a different tune, should we call it, a different beat, and that is the personal portion of the Torah. It's my Torah. It's your Torah. It's for all of us, but each one of us has a letter. And the Torah that we were taught on that level of pre-existence is the Torah that we need to find now to live, to serve Hashem. It's all in the whole, but it's also very individual. That's why in the Shabbat prayers, we say, as part of our prayer, V'tein chelkenu b'Toratecha. Grant us our portion in your Torah. And so, you know, there's a template, there's a kind of like a general collective, but then there is so much room for the personal initiative, for the individual to blossom, to flourish, to find Hashem, and to make a personal relationship acquisition with the Torah. So actually, this is all the true experience of standing at Mount Sinai, and this is the true experience of Shavuot, to receive the Torah on the deepest personal level of knowledge, of love, of awe and reverence, and of commitment. And so Parashat Bamidbar, which ostensibly seems to deal with numbers and names, is the perfect introduction to the beautiful festival of Shavuot, which is upon us. Because these children of Israel, all of us, were counted by the numbers of their names. They were counted as individuals. Each one is part of the nation, but each one is a total individual in Hashem's eyes, and each one finds expression of that level of uniqueness and individuality in the Torah itself. And then further in the Parsha, we have the responsibilities of those who are uniquely given the opportunity to be dealing with portions of the tabernacle, families that have these unique responsibilities. The life of service of Hashem, the life of the Torah that we are going to begin anew when we receive the Torah at Mount Sinai on Shavuot, it's about accepting responsibility upon ourselves. That's the bottom line of everything. That's the greatest lesson of the Torah, is for us to realize the great responsibility Hashem is giving us. And so this is really a perfect introduction that we are reading this Shabbat, Parashat Bamidbar, in the harsh conditions of the desert. In that wilderness, we can really have the experience of encountering Hashem, facing ourselves with no trick mirrors, with no airs about it, with no false posturing. We have the ability to really come to the essence, the core of our being, ready to be a vessel, a receptacle to receive the Torah, and standing at Mount Sinai, just as we were here in the beginning of Parashat Bamidbar. We're going to be called by name. We're going to be counted by name as part of the nation, but also by name on the level of every single individual. My Torah is not your Torah, is not his Torah, is not her Torah. We all are in the Torah, a letter. It's the legacy of the nation of Israel. We all have the same responsibilities, but we also have individual, unique responsibilities. And we all have a very individual portion that's unique. And that's the one that we were taught when we were yet part of this magnificent, inutterable whole. And we have a goal, a life's journey, a spiritual odyssey here in this world to reconnect with that individual level of Torah and to keep it and to treasure it and to walk with it so that we become again part of the whole of the nation of Israel, so that we're worthy of standing up and being counted, so that we take the Torah into the land of Israel and possess it. And we have the opportunity this time, as we begin the book of Numbers, to realize that we do have the responsibility, and we're being called by name to get it right this time, to go into the land of Israel, to avoid the mistakes of the generation of the desert, to go into the land, receive the Torah, inherit it.